G'day there folks, I'm Beanie and welcome to Beanie Draws. In this video I am going to try something a little bit different. I saw some artworks on DeviantArt and I think I saw a photo or some sort of photo manipulation or something by a user called Mark Cavassa, Cavassa. And there's something about his paintwork that struck a real chord with me. So I've decided I'm going to try and do a Velociraptor with feathers. This is going to be fairly inventive because I'm going to be basing it on the actual Velociraptors from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, but I'm going to be doing it in a very different style to how I usually do it, i.e. feathers. So what I'm going to do, I did want to do it's fairly vicious looking, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the body in. I'm basing this starting point from this reference image. Might actually bring the whole body a little bit more to the left, actually. So we can consider this a tutorial to a degree, but it's basically also just watching as I go along. I did mention this in another video at some point, I think, but the way I'm going to be going about this particular raptor is more along like there's a bird in Australia called a cassowary, and I'm kind of going to go along that line. It's kind of like a vicious turkey, eagle, kind of maybe something along those lines. Basing it off the body of the Velociraptor, but changing it up a bit. So I'm gonna just gonna draw in the basic shape of the body, something like that. Gotta figure out where the neck and that will go. So the neck will be sort of like this. I'm gonna be fixing this up and refining it, I'm sure. I'll draw the head, the snout, the long snout. Kind of draw it like a triangular rectangle. I think I've mentioned that in past videos. Actually, the eye kind of goes more around here, it looks like. Draw the back of the head a bit. The back of the neck, which curves out like that. The underside of the neck. And the jaw and all that. I'm going to be basing my overall look of this raptor on between this paint job that I've seen from DeviantArt, also a bit from the blue Velociraptor, a little bit from Jurassic Park 3, and also my own kind of inclinations on where I want things to go. So there's the head, there's the neck. I might actually do another version of this as well, because I'm more thinking about doing this as a body and just like a general kind of more concept art than an actual illustration. The other thing that I really liked about this person's design is that the tail is very, very dark and black at the end, which is how I'm going to kind of do my style. Bit of a triangular thigh bit, as I've drawn in the past. The crotch. And the tail, I think I might actually have my tail, like the tail would be more like that, but I think I'm going to have my tail sort of pointed up more. I don't know if I'm going to do the bushy tail like I've seen some people do raptors. Actually, I might have to do the whole body a little bit smaller, because I want to fit the tail in into the page. So draw the tail out like that. I think I might have the raptor walking, so I'm gonna just imagine the back leg, because I did actually have someone comment on my, sorry I forget your name off the top of my head, but in my my more recent Tyrannosaurus Rex full body tutorial, they asked where was the other set of legs. It was one of those illustrations where you only see one leg and one arm because the other leg and other arm is behind the dinosaur. But for this one, I'm going to do it with two legs. And it's going for a bit of a walk. Going for, like, you know, a big kind of chicken step. So there's the calf. It's sort of a triangular shape, which narrows down into the ankle. And I think I'll have the leg more coming out that way. So it's going for its step. I'm going to have this leg coming out a bit. It's going to connect around there. So think of it as like a, you know, again, a slightly curved triangular square. I think that's the best way to explain how to do a raptor leg. None of this circle stuff. It's just a triangular square. And I mean, you know, you can do circles for the knees if you really want, but as I've mentioned over and over again now, I don't go about my drawings like that. You can see how I do my drawings. So that's like a bit of a squared triangle. Actually, maybe even think of it as a kite. A kite or a diamond. Ankle. Leg's going to be lifted up. So I'm going to have a thickening out shape. The raptor is going to be taking a step, so its toes will be sort of curled. And a big sickle claw. So big claw like that. Probably do the same thing around here. I'm going to be fixing up these toes and claws later, just roughing them in at the moment. Because I'm trying to, this first basic stage, I'm trying to do it slightly tutorialistic, but then I'm just going to be going to town with my own sort of inventing. Like around here, I'm going to have like a bit of an oval circle. And normally, the arms would be like, you know, down here, but I'm not going to do it that way. And a matter of fact, I'm going to erase these bits of the lines right now. Because now you're about to watch me go through my inventing stage. I'll try to explain as much of this inventing stage as I can, but just bear with me. Because I'm going to be creating as I go along. So let's just try and keep up. Again, this is less about, you know, teaching and more about just drawing. You are allowed to draw this, but just keep in mind that from this point on, it's kind of more me inventing. So, yeah. I'm gonna have these are shoulders. I think. What am I gonna do? The leg is kind of getting in the way, actually. It's gonna be up there. Elbows. Because I'm going to have the raptor kind of like more that it's like kind of more like eagle wings, I guess. Arms like that. So this one's going to be a slightly different angle. The elbow is going to be around there, so it's kind of like a bit of a three-dimensional turn on itself. It'll make sense once it's drawn, I'm sure, or I'm hoping anyway. That's going to be the forearm, wrist. I'm going to try to do the fingers. I'm doing sort of more stick figure fingers at the moment, so I can decide where things will be actually going. Finger. I'm going to actually erase this leg because it's throwing me off a bit. So I think the leg would be more like this, a little bit narrower. I think kind of like that. And now, because you're like, well, there's a raptor, but where's the feathers? That's what I'm going to get to right now. I think what I'm going to do is have big feathers along here. So think of it like, you know, the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park 3, but on a far more elaborate scale. So I'm going to do them sort of wavy. Kind of think of it like, you know, a lion's mane made of feathers. Long, sort of thin feathers. I may also refine, you know, change this design a little bit as I go along, because I want it to still retain some of that original raptor style from Jurassic Park, just, you know, giving it the feathered vibe instead. Around here, I probably have the neck remaining the way it would with a Velociraptor, and then it kind of around there it'll start becoming feathered a little bit. Maybe more fluffy than feathered. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. And I think just like a cassowary or an emu, some elements of the neck I'm actually going to retain with the sort of lizard style. Because they do say that, you know, velociraptors and dinosaurs had feathers, but they don't, you know, emphasize on how much of the body was covered in feathers. So it might have, you know, it could have only just been like, you know, from like say the shoulders or something. It might have just had, you know, half feathered, half body. I mean, the emu is mostly covered with long sort of feathers, but I think the bottom side is featherless. The cassowary doesn't have feathers along its neck, I don't think so. Yeah, it's just basically just guesswork now. That's better. Hopefully that didn't really mess up the video. If it did, I'm going to be annoyed. So I'm going to draw in the mouth. Keeping the mouth similar to the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park. The nose. The snout. I'm going to have the snout ridge a little more like Jurassic Park 3. And I mean it's not accurate to the skeleton at all probably, or the skull, but I'm just doing it differently. And I'm keeping the snout area feather free. Because I mean, you know, vultures, their faces are more or less featherless. I might have some feathers along here, maybe. And I just realized in this part, I'm doing what I've done in the past, where my hand is covering the eye. So basically what I'm doing here is just, I'm drawing the eye, making it a little bit darker, and then I'm going to add a pupil. Can't see that too much because my fingers are blocking everything, but that's what I was doing, so I apologize for that. And what I'm liking in this, I've like the design's different, sort of. I mean, there's some elements that are similar, but I'm gonna do my own take on some of it. So, like, I'm gonna put in some black around here. Have some black around there. So I'm kind of doing the head feature a little bit like so I'm doing the head a little bit like Blue, the Velociraptor, and actually I probably will be doing this more in pen. Seems more like it's naturally acclimated to, that's not even a word, I don't think. but it's more like, it seems like it's more a pen rather than a pencil kind of thing. So I'm just going to rough in the things in pencil, and then I'll do bits and pieces in pen. Haven't actually drawn in ballpoint in a while, to be honest, so it's a little bit going back to some of the roots. Still not the biggest fan of raptors with feathers, to be honest, but you know, trying something different for the fans. Lots of you asked, you know, now if I could draw a raptor with feathers, so that's what I'm trying. Actually, I'm going to do a combination of, I'm going to go straight to pen, a combination of pen and pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to erase. Now I'm going to take my ballpoint pen and already get into some of that detail. I'm going to try my best not to cover it with my fingers, but so I'm going to put in some detail for the, come on. Okay, there we go. Seems this ink isn't flowing as nicely as I'd like it to be. It's also because of the angle. You're meant to really, with these ballpoint pens, you're meant to be drawing it more head on as opposed to like that. So I'm just going to put in the mouth. Going to draw in the eye. Here we get the raptor pupil. And then what I'm going to do is put in some little details for the black. Actually, I should probably put in the scales. I'm going to do this like loose and rough because this isn't going to be a precise raptor. It's more just saying creative. So I'm going to do my little zigzag crisscross rendering style that I've done with other raptors in the past. Gonna make it darker along here. Gonna have a dark patch of black around here. So it's not going to be like blue, the Velociraptor. It's just more going to have hints and, you know, styles of it. So I'm just going to draw my feathers in. You can kind of see how I draw my feathers. Believe it or not, I do believe this is actually the first time I have ever drawn feathered raptors. I mean, I've drawn them with quills and that, but I've never actually drawn them with feathers before, so congratulations, YouTube. You finally got me to draw a raptor with feathers. I have bowed to the pressure. Gonna try and give it a bit of a cockatoo styled feather. So I'm doing it sort of like flicky. It's kind of hard to explain it. You can see what I'm doing. So one straight line and then little flickery lines here for the other bit of the feathers. Some of these feathers, like around here, I'm going to make them even bushier. So like line, line, line. To be honest, this feels really dirty for me to be drawing feathers on a raptor. I mean, I always grew up with raptors being, you know, lizards. So drawing feathers is like, oh my god, what the hell am I doing? The things I do for subscribers wanting requests. That's okay. It's always good to try new things. And I thought I'd go about it my way, my style. So I'm gonna do like black tips, and I'm gonna do like fairly black. Like if you Google search cassowary, I might edit a picture of a cassowary in this video. I might forget to, but either way, it's a large Australian bird that doesn't fly, which I kind of imagine would be a raptor. I can't imagine raptors would ever have flown. I imagine them as big, flightless, scary birds if they were to be, feathered. I suppose I shouldn't say if, I should say they were, but, whatever. So you can see there that I've made the tips of the feathers darker. Just, building up my lines. That's how you do it with pen. You just build up your lines till it gets to your desired dark. Till it gets to your desired. Until it gets to your desired darkness. There we go. I thought I had another hiccup in there, but I didn't. Feather, feather, feathers, lines, lines, lines. I mean, if I leave this non-time-lapse, which I should leave it non-time-lapse so you can actually see what I'm doing, this is just going to be very long. It's not really much like that I can teach you. It's more I'm inventing and you watch as I invent. So here's some lines. I'm trying to indicate, extra feathers in there. I'm just kind of I'm just going with what feels organic. I'm not even trying to think. Trying to put in a little bit of a style of blue in here. So these, I'm just going to make some dark blots. These dark blots, I'm hoping are in the shape of feathers, and they're going to indicate little feathers that are solid black. You can probably see it. I'm thinking right now that these are going to be framing feathers. Inside there it's just going to be white feathers, so maybe I'll just put some well, it's in pen, so it's there now, so some white feathers, only light lines to indicate the white feathers, so you don't want to put in too much detail, as opposed to here where you put in like sort of greyish feathers. Gonna refine the jaw a bit. So hopefully you guys are liking the direction I'm going with this raptor right now. I'm just going to put in the scales along the mouth. Some scales along here. Some zigzag crisscross scales. Lower jaw. To be honest, I'm not minding this. I think it's looking okay. Okay, I'm going to have like more of a bit of a mohawked feather along here. And these feathers are going to get like, thinner down here. Want it to be kind of like a cockatoo. Because I come from Australia, I'm basically basing this raptor on some of the more Australian birds. Just darkening some lines like I did around here, but I'm just adding them down here. So it's got that Velociraptor blue style. Some little bits here and there to make it look like it's got, some vulture scattered feathers. So I don't mind that. That looks okay. I'm gonna place it like that maybe and figure out what I'm going to do with these next feathers, because the shape of the body is more or less there. The shoulders will probably be like that. Maybe they'll be feathered. Not fully sure. I'm not too sure how I would do feathers in this part. Well, I looked away from the raptor for a few moments, and then I looked back, and then I could see where I wanted them. So I'm just gonna put the forearm in like that. Have the wrist, a finger, another finger. So it will have claws, like, you know, the original Velociraptors from Jurassic Park. But I think it will have more feathers like this. So I'm just loosely roughing in like these aren't like pretty feathers or anything. These are more so like vulture, eagle feathers maybe. Bring the camera up a bit more. So I'm gonna put these wrists in like so. Claws and the fingers like a normal Velociraptor. And the wrist like a normal Velociraptor. And then I'll just put my feathers in where it kind of feels natural. So feathers. A shape. So I'm trying to. I can't really go slow in this. If I go slow, it's not going to look good as a final illustration in my style. So I'm just going to basically go try to explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it, but I have to go my speed with an inventive drawing. So it's not really a tutorial as such. Well, it is a bit of a tutorial, but I'm just explaining what I'm doing, and you can just watch. So I'm doing these kind of feathers, like you know, we all know how feathers look, pointy at the end and bulging out. Oh man. I almost don't like the feathers as far out at the shoulder. Might have a bit of a bigger feather there, maybe. Bigger feather there. Around here, actually, it looks like I want some bigger feathers. So the bigger feathers will actually be hiding a lot of the leg. So I'm going to erase a lot of here now. Big feather. Big feather. I'm drawing these like long and rectangular and kind of curved at the end. They will probably change as I continue to invent. But right now they're kind of long, a little bit scraggly. Scraggly at the ends. And broad. With lots of zigzaggy lines on the edges, not going too far into your feathers, just kind of out there. More feathers. Some scraggly feathered tips. So I'm also thinking, like, you know, if Velociraptor is a hunting dinosaur, so it would be getting in a lot of fights. So I'm not actually imagining if it, you know, depending on the feather styles, that I wouldn't imagine that its feathers would be too pretty. They'd be pretty ruffled up and scruffed up from all the fights it's been in. I do zigzag in, like there, and I'm making, like what I'm doing right now is I'm making the feather dark and black at its tips. So I'm not doing any of the detail of the inside of the feather, I'm just basically doing the outside as dark as I can. And I'll do that with like some of them up to about there. I'm letting it organically form in my brain and in my eyes. I'm just kind of letting letting my hand travel the black where I think it would organically form. So it goes a little zigzag in there, like almost think of it as like now tiger stripes, but like stripes on each individual feather. This is interesting because I did have I've got a tutorial on how to do Velociraptor scales. I've got lots of tutorials on how to do scales, but I don't think I've ever done a tutorial on how to do feathers. So this is a first. So I'm like, making them dark at the end. So it seems like these feathers are just organically formed on their own. I didn't plan these out this way, they just kind of formed in my brain and I let my hand do the rest. That's one of the challenging parts of drawing as well. Like, for those who can't, who like, they can visualize it in their head what they want, but they can't get it out onto paper. This stuff like this can be a bit of a challenge. Because right now, I'm not even like, I've got a little bit of an idea of what I want, like the claw and that, but it's basically just like going through my arm and through my hand, and yeah. I'm just letting it come out where it needs to go. I guess that's, the artistic-y kind of talk. Well, with feathers and anything organic, really, when it comes to patterns, if it's a creature, an animal, and it's patterned, don't be too particular and too anal about how exact the patterns look. Just randomly calculated, randomly put your lines and darknesses where you think they should be. Let your darkness form your shapes. Don't necessarily draw the shape outright. Draw the edge of the, draw the edge of the shape with your, do the pattern of the edge of the shape, and let that dictate what the shape actually looks like at the end. And that's how you get your random feathers like that. I think that's looking alright. Actually, around here, it looks like it's going to be chest, so I'm going to just put some chest feathers. I can't believe I'm drawing a Velociraptor with feathers. What is wrong with me? This feels so unnatural. I know, people will be like, Beanie, stop complaining and just draw it, it looks good. Which I agree, it's actually, this is kind of how I was visualizing a raptor in my head. That's why I was explaining that I was going to actually do a raptor in the end. Oh, right here. What I'm doing here is I'm doing cross-hatching toned lines to bring out a little bit of a mid-tone, like that. And the lines get closer together at the tip and lighter at this area. So I just realized I was doing that without explaining it, so I thought I'd explain it. So that's a bit of teaching. So I'll do these feathers. Actually, got to do the claws first. So I'm drawing my claws in. The finger pad. Finger pad. I'm actually making these claws fairly long. I'm imagining these claws are a bit like an Indominus Rex claw, considering how, Indominus Rex has Velociraptor DNA in it. Maybe some smaller feathers around here. So it's like connecting a little bit. It's like it goes from like scales and out, very slowly goes out to feathers. So you start with very tiny lines and very tiny like V's, I guess you call it. Do little V's. And then those V's, if you can you see that? Can you see those V's? Like that's a V, 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 V's, little tiny V's. And then those V's get bigger and bigger until they become feathers. So V, V, little V's, and the V's get bigger into feathers. Okay. Okay, that's where the well, it's too late now. Put the ink down. I was gonna say I don't know if I really want that feather there, but it's too late now. That's one of the beauty and the downfall of pen. It's fairly organic, but it opens you up to potential unexpected, like I wouldn't call it failure, but unexpected results. You'll go, oh, I wasn't planning on doing that way, but oh, it's that way now. Under here, because you may have seen the underside of birds, bird wings. How you'll still see like the muscles, the unfeathered parts of birds. So I'm going to do the same with the raptors. Have it unfeathered underneath there. As you can see, I'm just like randomly coloring in, building up the shape gradually over time. Maybe I'll make some sort of bushy feathers along here. So I'm not really drawing, at the moment, I'm not really drawing each individual feather. I'm just drawing like sort of like the plumped bits, like just one edge of the line, and that kind of, you're doing the impression of the feathers, not drawing each individual feather. The more you tend to draw each individual feather, sometimes you lose that plushiness. Like around here you want them refined, around here you want them refined, but sometimes like for a plushy mane and underneath the stomach, like if you look at like the belly of a budgie, or the belly of a seagull, or the belly of a dove, you don't generally see each individual feather on their belly. It's more just like you see like little edges. So that's kind of how I do the feathers there. And I'm thinking I might have the stomach bare, so you can actually see the a little bit of the raptor skin under the feathers. I'm actually letting this just form itself. I'm not planning it. I'm putting like these are meant to be kind of sharp, long, pointy feathers, kind of like that, but not as pointy like that. But I'm just letting it. I'm just letting it do its own thing. I'm not even thinking right now, really. I'm just like, oh yeah. Well, I suppose I am thinking, but I don't know. I'm not planning. It's just it's coming out as it's coming out. It's almost like I'm not drawing it. It's like my hand is doing its own thing. So sometimes when I'll look at my other artworks I've done, I'll be like, how did I do that? Because I wasn't necessarily, like around here I was planning it, around here I was planning it, around there I was planning it, but sometimes around here I'm just like, oh, okay, that's how it's ended up. And see in the corner there, I didn't plan on doing that. My hand just did that. So it's kind of hard to explain. Like, hopefully you can see like there's only one line there, one line there, one line there. I'm not drawing the feathers. I'm drawing the impression of the feathers. So I'm trying to explain what I'm doing. Oh, look at that! Another long video. The T-Rex is like an hour long. Who knows how long this one will turn out to be. In this video, I in the past videos I've said if you watch this long, say yes Beanie, I've watched it this far, or yes, or, you know, I said something like that. Now for this video, when you get to this point, if you're still watching and you're still enjoying yourself, just say yes Beanie, I'm still enjoying watching it. I'm still enjoying, you know, watching it to this point, or or how about instead of that, say, no Beanie, I'm not bored. That might work. So I know that, you know, you're enjoying this as opposed to, you know, being bored. Actually, a lot more feathered than I was planning. So I'm going to just draw a line there to indicate there was a leg there, because most of the leg's being hidden under all the feathers now. I'm going to draw the back of the thigh. I'm going to draw its pelvis, where its pelvic bone would be. I know it looks like, you know, naughty genitalia, but that's actually the pelvis. Well, I suppose the genitals of a dinosaur would be in that area, but I don't know. Shading in there a little bit so it looks like shadow with the feathered arm over the top. I think the ankle would be about here. Man, most of its foot's been hidden by feathers. So I'm visualizing where the foot would be, so I can't really explain this particular foot because most of it's been hidden by feathers. Continuing on now, I'm going to actually make that bit even darker, blacker, and make that blackness morph out into the feathers. So I just felt like it needed to be blacker and darker there to make it a little bit more scarier and terrifying. And maybe make these lines a little bit darker and blacker as well. These things just naturally form themselves as you go along. More feathers around here. I just splodge in shapes here and there to get more, I don't know, not really shapes, but just kind of, I guess they are shapes, but I just it's all about just organic placement of ink to where you think it should go, sort of. Seems I want to make it have a bit of a black line around here, it seems. Well, even if I don't want it, it's done now. Might as well continue on with the black line there. Wasn't planning on it, but it's there now. Still works. Now this leg is not going to be... it might be feathered, but not much. It's going to be more sort of skinned. It kind of looks like it's feathered, but I'm just doing my sort of lined raptor skin. Actually, maybe I should make that feathered. Bit sort of feathery downy. Ankle here. You can't really see it, but that's an ankle. And a foot. And some scales on the feet. Around here is where it gets really tricky, so I'm not even going to bother trying to explain that part. Okay, around here it looks like it's going to be big, sort of... Initially I wasn't going to have feathers like this, but it looks like I am. So I'm having long, sort of wide, bushy feathers. Think of it like a rooster. Rooster feathers. So I'm drawing the feather, like we've all drawn feathers, I'm sure. Just like, you know, like a leaf, but with zigzag bits instead of a straight line, and then just kind of put like little sharp points in there. But maybe this might actually end up being my next tutorial. If this actually comes across as a tutorial, which it might not. Like the first general shape of this raptor was in a style of a tutorial, but now it's more just me explaining the process of. See, now around here, for some reason, I don't know why, it just formed itself. I'm doing sort of like tiger stripes now. It's just how it's come out of my pen. I wasn't planning it that way, but that's just kind of how it formed in my organic nature. I wish I could, maybe I just kind of had an idea of going, well, maybe some stripes would look cool down here, and I just drew them like, well, that's there now, and it works, so, well, it works in my brain. You might not like the feathers of, sort of, spider, what am I saying spider for? Tiger. Spider, tiger. I suppose because they both rhyme, that's why I said spider. Sorry to the arachnophobes out there. We will no longer talk about that now. Underneath the tail is going to be traditional Velociraptor wrinkles and skin, but the feathers will form over the top of it. But before we finish the tail, and the tail's going to be quite black at the end, I'm going to do the feet, or the foot. And the foot is going to be exactly the same style as the Velociraptors normally. So I'm going to just draw the skin wrinkle bits using lines, short lines in a contour to the shape of the leg. So I use lines contouring the cylindrical form of the leg. Around here I might do some scales, but around here it'd be sort of frontal scales. And then it's going to form into long sort of toes, toe tendons, kind of like, you know, see these bits? Those parts. Oh, look how wrinkly my, geez, look at those veins, damn. But these lines, see how my finger, well, I've got webbed fingers as you can see, but see how the fingers sort of splits there, but you still got the lines here. That's what I'm doing here. I'm drawing those kind of lines. I'm going to draw the claw here. Another claw there. Interestingly enough, when I've seen the Velociraptor claws from Jurassic Park 1 and 2, the claws don't seem to touch the ground. They seem to poke up. Kind of like that, but very much smaller. And these toes, I'm actually doing them in the, well, they're meant to be padded in that, but I'm doing them in a sort of a an emu ostrich fashion. I mean, when you think about it, Velociraptor feet are quite ostrich-like. They do have two main toes and then the big claw. I'm going to draw the padded thing that the big claw comes out of, and draw a line there for the toe. And I'm just going to draw the scales that go along the toe. Sort of curved U's and curved V's. And then just random lines every now and then. Bring that ankle out a bit better. And I'm going to have that claw more up here than down there. I'm giving it a nice black sharp point to emphasize the raisins, because, you know, it needs, if it's going to attack it, you know, it needs a nice sharp point. So there we go. Very good, very good. I quite like that foot. Hopefully, like here, what I'm doing is I'm just rendering it in. I just making it darker in the middle of the toes. But hopefully that looks good. Just adding more lines here and there to render in the foot, so it's not, I can't, that's just really completely random. I wouldn't even advise putting those lines in there, but I just did, so you can do the same if you feel inclined, but like, yeah, some of these lines I'm just putting them in unconsciously. Well, look at that, we're nearly finished, I think. And who knows, this might actually end up being the next tutorial video. Let's see how we go. If I can edit this down or just upload it as is. Hopefully it's not too boring. Again, if it's not boring, let me know in the comments. If you're finding this entertaining and you're learning something from this, even if you haven't learned anything at all, hopefully you just found this entertaining. I'm just adding little splodges and V's again. Right, let's do the last part, which will be the feathers along here. I'm just gonna be random. They're meant to be like, you know, very plush. Think of it like the feathers of the old writing feathers that poets used. So I'm doing a long sort of brushy feathers along there, because I kind of imagine that's how it would look, sort of like a rooster. Because the tip of the tail's all the way up there, like really, if I was going to do it how I think it would, the feathers would go all the way, way out there. So I'm just going to, well, that's where the end of my page is, so I can't really go much further than that. So I'm just going to pretend that it just works. I'm going to make these parts really black. And you can probably hear by how much pressure I'm putting on the pen now, how black and how much pressure I'm putting on the pen to get this black at the tip of the feathers. I think I'm going to be doing like blending the colors, not blending the colors. What am I talking about? Making them like striping. And the further out they get, the closer the stripes get until the point where it's all, you know, black. This is me being completely inventive right now, so, like I said, hopefully you like what I'm doing. But I guess that's the whole point of doing feathers on a raptor. Other than the shape of the raptor itself, the feathers and everything else can be completely different, as I showed in Jurassic World with the 4 raptors with each individual coloring on them. So I'm doing something like that, but with feathers. I can't believe I'm doing raptors with feathers. God, I've gone against everything I believe in. Who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. Don't mind me, just being silly. That said, if I saw a raptor looking this vicious in Jurassic World or Jurassic World 2, I don't think I'd be that disappointed. But But I was trying to make this raptor look as scary as possible, like, you know, like a vulture, like a cassowary, something that's dangerous looking. I'm just going to actually make these eyes a bit darker. I'm going to actually continue that part of that black striping patchiness all the way down to its back. And that would be like, you know, Blue, the raptor. And the raptors in Jurassic Park 3. Might just put some little random lines to make it random wiggly horizontal lines just to make it look like it's actually walking on ground. And then I think this is actually done. I am very surprised. I was not expecting to actually, 1, draw a raptor with feathers, period. 2, I wasn't expecting to enjoy drawing a raptor with feathers, but I actually did quite enjoy doing this. I wasn't expecting it to look vicious or any good, but I think personally it looks pretty good. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you think this looks awesome, or if you think it looks lame. Hopefully it doesn't look lame, hopefully I made it look really decent and interesting. I suppose I should give it the old signature. Oh man, that's looks like it's all inside the wigglies. Yeah, it's good enough. I'll give it a little 2015. Now that all this part's done, I might erase the pencils. Actually, because of the erasing of the pencil here, I'm just gonna use my cross-hatching to render in some some mid-tones, some greys, because I think it just needs a bit of more mid-tone section and a bit of rendering around the jaw. And I'm gonna just oh, I can't really see anything here, sorry. I'm just gonna draw it quickly, so I apologize that you can't see it. So there we go. I quite like that. I think that turned out alright. Not bad for a lame raptor with feathers. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, if you wanted to see a raptor with feathers, you're welcome. But yeah, I've always got more drawings coming down the track, so hopefully this artwork earned myself some more subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I will have more things like this in the future. And if you already have subscribed, thank you so much for your support, and I hope you enjoyed this. But yeah, that's it from me for now. I'll probably put a scanned version right at the end of this video. If I don't. If I do, you'll see that next. But until then, thank you for watching. Hopefully I didn't bore you to death. And I will see you in the next video. I'll catch you all later. Cheerio for now. So thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe. You can watch a whole bunch of other videos on this channel now. And also, if you want to see what I'm up to outside of YouTube and the works in progress, you can follow me on Instagram. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheerio for now.